The deep space exploration vessel, Odyssey, drifted silently through the void. Captain Elias Carter stood at the bridge, staring at the holographic display. A massive, derelict space station floated ahead, a lifeless relic from an unknown civilization. The station's design was ancient, covered in cracks and overgrown with cosmic dust. No signs of power, no distress signals, nothing but silence. "Scans show no active defenses, Captain," said Lieutenant Voss, the ship's tactical officer. "But there's something strange." Elias turned to him. "Strange how?" Voss hesitated. "It's giving off a weak signal, almost like a heartbeat." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. This station had been abandoned for millions of years, so why was it still sending out a signal? The boarding. Elias made his decision. "Gear up. We're going in." The landing team, Elias, Voss, engineer Dr. Lin, and 2 security officers, crossed the empty void in a shuttle. As they approached the station, the entrance hatch opened on its own. "That's not creepy at all," muttered Dr. Lin. Stepping inside, they found themselves in a vast corridor lined with flickering alien symbols. The walls were scarred with deep claw marks, as if something had tried to escape. "This place saw a fight," Voss whispered. Dr. Lin wiped the dust off a nearby console and activated her scanner. The station's architecture matched no known species, but one thing stood out. The markings were warnings. Her voice was shaky as she translated. "This is a grave, a warning. Do not seek the forbidden archive." Elias felt a chill. "We came this far. We need to see what they were so afraid of." The forbidden archive. They pushed forward, deeper into the station. Every corridor felt heavier, as if the air itself resisted their presence. Finally, they reached a massive vault-like door covered in the same warning symbols. Voss examined the door. "It's been sealed from the inside." Elias nodded. "Then whatever was locked in never got out." Dr. Lin hacked into the console. The moment she bypassed the security protocols, the door slid open with a deafening groan. Inside, they found rows of ancient data cores, glowing faintly. Despite the age, they were still active. In the center of the room, a single holographic terminal flickered to life. A voice, distorted, broken, alien, spoke in perfect English. "You should not have come." The crew froze. Elias stepped forward. "Who are you?" The voice ignored his question. The hologram changed, displaying a map of the galaxy. It showed entire civilizations, marked in red, fading into nothingness. Dr. Lin gasped. These are all the species that have disappeared from history." One by one, planets blinked out of existence. The final world on the map. Earth. The message continued. "The cycle always repeats. They awaken it. They fall. Do not wake Earth." The horrifying truth. The realization hit Elias like a hammer. This station was not abandoned. It was a tomb. A warning left behind by the last survivors of a lost empire. Voss backed away. "We need to leave. Now." But it was too late. The hologram glitched violently, and the station shuddered. The weak, pulsing signal they had detected earlier suddenly grew stronger. A new message appeared on the screen. "Warning. Unauthorized access. Awakening process initiated." Elias's blood ran cold. The station wasn't sending out a distress signal. It had sent out a beacon to something waiting in the darkness, something that should have stayed asleep. The Odyssey's crew stared in horror at the flickering holographic message. "Warning. Unauthorized access. Awakening process initiated." The station trembled. Something was coming. "Shut it down. Now." Elias barked. Dr. Lin frantically worked at the terminal, sweat dripping down her face. "I'm trying. The system isn't responding." Voss's hand hovered over his weapon. "Captain, we need to get out of here." But Elias knew it wasn't that simple. They had activated something old, something forgotten by time. If they left now, what if it followed them? The holographic display flickered again. This time, it showed Earth. Lines of alien text scrolled beneath the image. Dr. Lin's translator struggled, but a few phrases were clear. Earth was never meant to be found. They locked it away for a reason. The others didn't listen. Now they are gone. Elias felt a deep primal fear settling in his chest. The others? Did that mean the vanished empires? What did they awaken? Voss whispered. Before anyone could answer, the entire station shook violently. The air grew thick, heavy, as if something ancient had just taken its first breath in eons. A new sound filled the chamber, a deep, guttural whisper, like a voice speaking from 1,000 miles away. It wasn't coming from the station. It was coming from outside. The vanished empires. Dr. Lin gasped as the data cores flickered to life. Images flashed rapidly, planets consumed, fleets turned to dust, civilizations erased. The final images showed the last empire to awaken it, a proud, dominant species, gone in mere days. Voss clenched his fists. What the hell is it? Lin's voice was hollow. Something worse than extinction. Elias exhaled sharply. We need to leave. Now. They turned to run. But the station's exit doors slammed shut. A new message carved itself across the holographic screen, the text burning red-hot. You woke it. You cannot run. A low, resonating hum filled the station, the sound of something responding to the signal. Outside, beyond the cold steel walls, something massive was moving. Something old. Something angry. The station trembled. Something outside was moving. Elias gritted his teeth. Status on the ship. Voss pressed his communicator. Static. No signal. No response. The Odyssey was cut off. Dr. Lin's fingers flew over the console, but the station's systems refused to cooperate. I can't override the lockdown. She gasped. Something else is in control. Elias clenched his jaw. They weren't alone. The holographic display flickered again, showing alien ruins across dead worlds. Some had been mighty empires, their fleets unmatched, their technology superior. Now, only dust remained. A message scrolled across the screen. They tried to run. They tried to fight. They were erased. The walls groaned as if the station itself was alive. A deep hum filled the air, making the crew's bones vibrate. Then, the voice returned. You should not have come here. Outside, something stirs. Voss pressed against the viewing panel. The dead void of space was no longer empty. Something shifted in the darkness, massive, ancient, and watching. The stars themselves seemed to bend around it, as if light itself feared its presence. Lin whispered, "That's impossible." A shadow stretched toward the station, not a ship, not a fleet, something else, something alive. Elias gripped his sidearm, but deep down, he knew bullets wouldn't stop this. The station wakes. Lights flickered red as doors slammed shut. The station's systems came alive on their own. Escape routes sealed. Emergency controls disabled. They were trapped. Lin's screen pulsed with new text, not from the station, but from the entity outside. You are not the first. You will not be the last. Elias felt ice run through his veins. This thing, it had spoken before. It had warned others. And yet, they had all been wiped from existence. Voss took a step back, eyes darting to the captain. "Sir, what do we do?" The hum grew louder. The walls shook violently. Outside, the darkness moved closer. Elias tightened his grip. There was only one option now. They had to find a way to shut this down, before it was too late. The station shook violently, as if it were alive. Elias grabbed onto the nearest console, trying to steady himself. The hum that had filled the air was now a deep, pulsing heartbeat, coming from somewhere deep within the station. Dr. Lin's face was pale. Something is waking up. Voss cursed under his breath. We need to get out of here. Now, Elias shook his head. Not yet. We need to know what this thing is. Lynn hesitated before pulling up the data logs again. Lines of alien text flashed across the screen, too fast to read. Then, a translation appeared. Prison status. Containment failing. Elias felt the hairs on his neck rise. Prison. Buried secrets. Lynn's fingers trembled over the console. This station isn't just a research outpost. It's a prison. Voss frowned. For what? Lynn gulped. I don't know. But whatever it is, the civilizations before us tried to lock it away. Elias exhaled sharply. And now we're standing right on top of it. Outside the station, the darkness moved. It wasn't just watching them. It was getting closer. The message updated. You were warned. Now you will see. The hum in the walls became a roar. And then, the power died. The prison breaks. For a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, a deep guttural sound vibrated through the station. It wasn't mechanical. It wasn't a malfunction. It was a growl. Something ancient, massive, hungry. Elias activated his flashlight, the beam barely cutting through the darkness. The red emergency lights flickered on, casting eerie shadows across the metallic walls. Then they heard it, scraping. Not from the walls. From below. Lynn gasped. The lower levels. That's where the prison is. Voss checked his weapon. And that's where it's coming from. Elias clenched his jaw. Then we have two choices. Run, or stop whatever is down there before it gets out. Lynn hesitated. If it's been trapped for this long, shouldn't we just leave? The station trembled again. A low, hollow voice echoed through the speakers. You cannot run. You are already inside. Voss swore. I hate this place. Elias checked his communicator. Still no signal. Their ship was too far. They had only one choice left. Go down and face whatever was waiting. The emergency lights flickered as Elias led the way down the narrow metal corridor, his boots echoing in the silence. Every step took them closer to the prison beneath the station, closer to whatever had been locked away for eons. Voss gripped his rifle tightly. I have a very bad feeling about this. Dr. Lynn's breathing was shallow, her eyes darting nervously at every flicker of shadow. We shouldn't be here. We should be running. Elias glanced back. Where would we go? Our ship is too far, and whatever this thing is, it's already awake. Lynn gulped. Then we better pray that it's still trapped. The descent into darkness. The air grew heavier as they reached the lower level. It smelled wrong, like old metal and something rotting. The walls here were different, older, cracked. Symbols covered the surfaces, written in languages that didn't exist anymore. Warnings, Elias guessed. The door ahead was massive, reinforced with alien metals, humming with weak energy. But something had changed. The locks were undone. The chamber was already open. Lynn stepped back. No, 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 no. If the locks are gone, that means... A deep guttural sound came from within. Something moved in the dark. The horror revealed. Elias raised his weapon and took a slow step forward, his flashlight piercing the blackness. The chamber beyond was vast, stretching far beyond what should have been possible inside the station. And in the center, something stood. It was huge, twisted, shifting. Not organic, not mechanical. Something in between. Lynn gasped. This isn't just a prisoner. This is a goddamn weapon. The creature turned toward them, its form warping as if reality itself couldn't decide what it should be. A voice, layered with centuries of hunger, rumbled through the chamber. Your kind was never meant to see me. The station's final warning. The walls trembled. Symbols began glowing, reacting to the presence of the thing. It wasn't just waking up. It was breaking free. A message flashed on the console behind them. Final containment failure detected. Emergency purge sequence recommended. Voss stepped back. Purge sequence? You mean blow the whole station? Lynn's face was pale. If this thing escapes, it won't stop. It won't just kill us. It will. The creature lunged. Elias barely rolled aside as massive, shifting tendrils slammed into the floor where he had been standing. The metal cracked like brittle glass. There was no time left. Lynn ran to the console. I can activate the purge, but I'll need time. Elias fired his weapon, the energy blast disappearing into the creature's shifting form without effect. Voss cursed. That did no thing. The creature's voice vibrated through their bones. You are too late. This prison is undone. Elias grabbed Lynn's arm. Do it. Now. Lynn's fingers flew over the console. The countdown began. 60 seconds. The station shook violently, alarms blaring. The creature screeched, recoiling as the symbols along the walls ignited with golden light. It wasn't just an explosion. It was a weapon against whatever this thing was. 30 seconds. The floor beneath them cracked, pieces falling into the dark abyss below. Move! Elias shouted. They ran, the corridors collapsing behind them. 10 seconds. The docking bay was ahead. Their escape ship's doors were already open. 5 seconds. They jumped inside, the doors sealing shut. 1 second. A final inhuman scream echoed through the station. And then it was gone. The shockwave flung their ship into space, alarms blaring as they stabilized. The station was now a glowing field of debris. Lynn stared at the screen, still shaking. Did we kill it? Elias exhaled. I don't know. Voss swallowed hard. But I don't think this was the only one. Lynn's face went pale. What do you mean? Elias slowly turned toward the vast emptiness of space. The real question is, he murmured, who built that prison? The wreckage of the station still glowed faintly in the darkness of space, drifting in silent ruins. The forbidden entity was gone, or so they hoped. Inside the ship, Elias, Lynn, and Voss sat in stunned silence. The weight of what had just happened pressed down on them. We shouldn't be alive, Lynn whispered. Voss exhaled, shaking his head. We're not out of this yet. That thing, whatever it wasn't natural. It wasn't just some old nightmare. It was put there. Elias looked out into the void, which means someone, a long time ago, tried to lock it away. The hidden coordinates. The ship's console flickered with a new message. Data fragment recovered. Displaying transmission. Lynn's fingers hovered over the controls. Wait. The station's core was destroyed. Where is this coming from? Elias frowned. Only one way to find out. Lynn activated the playback. A distorted voice, old and broken, crackled through the speakers. Asterisk, asterisk, to those who find this, we failed. The vault has been breached. If you are hearing this, then the final barrier is lost. We could not destroy it, but we could bury it. And we did. We sealed it beneath the ruins of our kind. We warned every race after us, never wake Earth. The crew froze. Voss blinked. Did it just say, Earth? Elias felt his blood run cold. That's impossible. That thing wasn't from Earth. Lynn's hands trembled as she scrolled through the remaining data fragments. There's something else, a set of coordinates. She enlarged them on the screen. The numbers were old, written in an alien format, but when the ship's computer translated them, they pointed directly to Earth's solar system. Silence filled the cockpit. Voss finally spoke. Tell me this is some kind of sick joke. Lynn shook her head. No. The station's builders, the ones who tried to contain that creature, they knew about Earth. They left warnings for every species that came after them. Elias clenched his jaw. Not just warnings. They were afraid. A galactic conspiracy. Lynn pulled up historical star maps. The builders of that prison are long gone. Their entire civilization wiped out. But we know from recovered artifacts that they weren't the only ones who left warnings about Earth. We've found messages from at least 5 extinct empires, and they all say the same thing. She pointed at the screen. Earth must never be disturbed. Voss scoffed, trying to hide his unease. That's ridiculous. We're human. We grew up there. We've mapped every inch of the planet. If there was some ancient galactic horror locked away on Earth, we'd know about it. Lynn swallowed. Would we? Elias tapped a command on the console, bringing up modern Earth scans. For centuries, we've assumed we were the only intelligent species that ever lived there, that nothing came before us. Voss crossed his arms. Because it's true. Elias looked at him. But what if it's not? Something beneath the surface. Lynn's voice was quiet. We need to go back. Voss flinched. Back to Earth. Lynn nodded. We need to check these coordinates. If something is buried there, if the warnings are true, we need to know. Elias exhaled slowly. If we go back, we might find something we're not meant to. Lynn's voice was steady. Then we better be ready. Elias turned the ship toward the stars, inputting the coordinates. As the engines roared to life, only one thought echoed in his mind. What if humanity wasn't the first? The ship drifted toward Earth, its engines humming softly. The crew had faced horrors they couldn't explain, warnings left by long-dead civilizations, and a mystery buried deep within their own history. Now, they were about to uncover the truth. Elias, Lynn, and Voss stared at the glowing blue planet on the screen. Home. But now, it felt different, like a puzzle they had never really solved. Lynn checked the coordinates again. It's pointing to a specific region. Antarctica. Voss frowned. You're telling me the greatest secret in galactic history is under the ice. Elias didn't answer. He was too busy preparing for landing. The descent. As their ship pierced through Earth's atmosphere, a storm raged over the Antarctic ice. Snow and wind battered the hull, but the guidance systems held steady. Lynn's hands moved quickly over the controls, scanning. The coordinates lead to a point 2 miles beneath the surface. Elias activated the drill systems. Then we dig. The ship's heavy-duty lasers cut through the ancient ice layer by layer. Slowly, the ground gave way, revealing something buried for eons. Their screens flickered. The ship's AI glitched. Then suddenly, a massive metallic structure came into view. The door to the past. It was a titanic gateway, thousands of years old, made of black alloy that reflected no light. Strange markings covered its surface, symbols that matched those from the dead civilizations. Lynn whispered, "It's not human." Voss swallowed. "Then what is it?" Elias stepped forward and placed his hand on the cold metal. The moment he touched it, the symbols glowed. The ground rumbled. The door unlocked. The truth beneath Earth, beyond the gate, lay a city. Not ruins, not debris. A fully preserved, massive underground metropolis. The structures were alien but eerily familiar. Towers of unknown metal reached toward the frozen ceiling. Strange energy pulses flowed through the streets like veins of a sleeping beast. The crew stepped inside. The air was thin but breathable. The silence was unnatural. Lynn's scanner beeped. "There's power here. Something's still active." Elias moved cautiously toward what looked like a central control hub. He pressed a panel, and the city came to life. Holographic displays flickered to existence, showing ancient records. The crew watched in horror as the truth unfolded. Humanity wasn't first. The holograms depicted a war, a battle between an advanced race and something monstrous. The aliens were losing. Their cities burned, their fleets crumbled. Desperate, they made a choice. We could not destroy it. We could only contain it. We hid it beneath our greatest stronghold and erased all records of our kind. Voss's face paled. "Wait, are they saying they wiped themselves out on purpose?" Lynn's voice trembled. "And they left the ruins for another species to find. For us, the final hologram showed a star map. One planet glowed. Earth. The display changed again, showing genetic sequences. Lynn gasped. No way. This isn't possible. Elias clenched his fists. Say it. Lynn looked up. We aren't just from Earth. We are them. The last survivors. The builders of this lost city, the ones who sealed away the nightmare, were humanity's ancestors. Their war had ended in sacrifice. They erased themselves from history so the creature they fought could never be freed again. And in the ashes, life began anew. Voss took a step back. That means Earth isn't just our home. His voice was hollow. It's a prison. A ship's alarms blared. Lynn turned to the display. Something else activated. A failsafe. The city shook violently. A deep, unnatural growl echoed through the chamber. The seal was breaking. Elias grabbed his weapon. We have to go. Now. Lynn hesitated. But the truth. Elias grabbed her arm. The truth won't matter if we don't make it out alive. Voss sprinted toward the ship. The rumbling grew stronger. Something moved in the shadows. As the crew raced back, one final message appeared on the hologram. If this seal is ever broken, run. The ship's engines roared to life. As they shot into the sky, the frozen land beneath cracked open. Something old was waking up. Something humanity was never meant to face.